When I was 25 years old, I was desperate. I really wanted to move out of my house. Most of my friends were either in college or had moved somewhere else, and I was still living at home with my parents. Man, sometimes I wondered if living under a bridge would be better. Obviously, I knew it wouldn't, but that's how badly I needed and craved my own space. I was checking the listings online and I found a bunch of places in my area to rent on Craigslist. I was just so in awe, I remember, about how easy it is to rent a place to live in with technology. Being young and stupid and probably a little naive, I found a listing on Craigslist that was the definition of too good to be true. And I was not a Craigslist guy. I was not aware of scammers or creepers yet. The listing said it was a 2-story house with 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a whole garage, and a finished basement. The pictures made this place look incredible. I messaged the guy who had the listing, and I was so eager I asked if I could meet with him at 8 p.m. tonight after I left work. He agreed, and I was already mentally prepping my setup for this house. It was so incredible. After work, when I was driving over, it dawned on me that out of all the pictures, there wasn't any outside of the house, so I didn't know what the neighborhood was like, and I don't remember seeing any pictures of a finished basement. I didn't think too much about it, I just remember that it crossed my mind. I pulled into the house around 8:15. The outside looked pretty rough, and the neighborhood was definitely not ideal, but I ignored all that because I kept telling myself about all the photos I saw and how great it would be to have an entire house just to myself. So I knocked on the front door and a disheveled man answered it. I walked in and the pictures didn't really look like the house that I was in at all. The inside looked old, and honestly, the more I looked at it, it was starting to fall apart. I was standing in the living room with this strange man, and then I looked over and there was this frail, little-looking woman. She was so skinny, and it looked like her shirt was practically falling off her shoulder. I felt in situations like this, the person renting the house or trying to sell the house would, maybe walk you around, give you a tour, and show you the interior, but these two people just sort of stood there, and I was getting seriously freaked out. The guy finally mumbled, so this is it. I should have said on the listing, but cash only. I didn't want to be rude, so I continued the tour, and I asked if I could just look around for a second, and he annoyingly nodded. I looked into one of the rooms on the main floor, and my heart started to pound, and I was really starting to get freaked out. I knew I didn't want this place. I knew that from the minute I walked into it. I did not need to look at the rest of the house, but I didn't want to be rude, but I was starting to freak out. I walked back into the living room and said to the guy, "Thanks for meeting me, man, but unfortunately, I'm gonna pass." The woman was almost in tears, and the man said, "Needs a little work, but hang on, you should see the basement." The woman ran over to the door and opened it. She held her arms out, pointing to the basement, as if presenting me with a prize if I walked down the stairs. I'm the type of guy that has a hard time saying no and doesn't want to be rude, so I walked over and stood at the top of the stairs, getting ready to walk down them. But I remember thinking, no way, as I soon looked into the darkness at the bottom. I could hear the man say to me, "The light switch is downstairs, just go downstairs and we'll be right behind you." The woman put her hand on my shoulder and lightly started to nudge me, and I guess it was the nudge that I needed because it gave me direction to get myself out of that house. I turned around and started walking towards the door and thanked them for their time, very respectfully. But the guy did not like that at all. He ran over and stood in front of the door. The already creepy and disheveled man now was like way more unsettling, and I was totally trapped. He was staring at me with bulging eyes and started to reach into his back pocket. As he stared directly into my eyes, he said, "You said you wanted the place. Pay up or you're not leaving." I lied and told him I didn't have any money on me. He started to walk towards me and started to size me up, and I could see in my peripheral vision that the woman was moving closer to me as well from behind me. For a split second, I noticed the man was struggling with whatever he was concealing in his back pocket, and I knew that this was my opportunity to run. So I ran right through the guy into the door. When I went to open it, it was locked. This guy must have locked the door when I wasn't looking. I hurried quickly to unlock the door and made a dash to my car. I heard the woman screaming from inside, and as I approached my car, I saw the man run out the door after me. I turned the keys, the car turned on, and I rushed out of the driveway, and I could see in my rearview mirror the man running after me as I was driving off. Thankfully, I never saw anything else after that. I don't think any cars were following me, and these two people I don't think owned a car, to be honest. I was very freaked out, and I could not even drive home because I was scared that they were following me, and I didn't want to subject anyone to this. That weekend, I told my friends about what happened, and they joked with me that they wanted to see the place. I don't know why I was so stupid, and honestly, people need to learn about Craigslist. Truly. Because scammers are out there. My friends were still poking and prying me to go see the place, so I agreed to drive them by at night, but just drive by, nothing more than that. Around 11 o'clock, we all piled into my car to drive to the house. As we slowly drove to the front of the house, there they were, the man and the woman, standing in the driveway, and they were talking to someone else. As we slowly passed, they stopped talking and they looked right at us. The man must have noticed the car, or me, or have some keen sixth sense, like most freaks and creeps do, and he proceeded to point at the car. And there he was again, rushing at the vehicle, and this time he was definitely pulling something from the inside of his coat. We weren't going to wait and see what it was, so I sped down the street as fast as I could, and that was the last time I saw those two, and it'll definitely be the last time I go anywhere close to that house. One day, my friend Lily and I were bored and looking for something exciting to do. We had heard about Craigslist, a website where you could find all sorts of things, so we decided to give it a try. We clicked on the community section and started scrolling through all the ads. Most of them looked pretty normal, like people selling old furniture or looking for a jogging buddy. But then we saw it. It was a strange ad, and it just really caught our attention. The title of the ad was, "Do you dare enter?" The description gave us chills. It said, "Looking for brave souls to explore a hidden underground passage. Dare to enter the darkness and face your fears? Meet me at the old abandoned factory at midnight. Bring a flashlight and courage." Lily and I looked at each other, excitement and fear mingling on our faces. We were adventurers, and this seemed like the perfect adventure for us. We just couldn't resist temptation, so we decided to go for it. I guess you can blame Instagram for that. When the clock struck midnight, we quietly left our houses and met up at the factory. It was a creepy, rundown building with broken windows and an eerie silence surrounding it. I guess Lily and I thought that this was maybe some kind of Halloween secret haunted house because it was almost October. But we were getting a little nervous as we entered through the side door, clutching our flashlights very tightly. It was really spooky on the inside. The air was damp and the sound of our footsteps echoed through the empty halls. We couldn't find any sign of anyone there. Whoever posted this ad wasn't inside the factory like they claimed they would be. We followed the directions that came with the ad, searching for the hidden passage. It led us deeper into the factory, and it was like a maze-like structure of tunnels. I couldn't believe that we were actually inside of this abandoned factory by ourselves with just a flashlight. As we walked through the darkness, the strangest things started to happen to us. We heard whispers off in the distance, and our flashlights started to just flicker ominously. Felt like someone or something was watching us and was lurking in the shadows. That was when we suddenly heard a loud noise come from behind us. We turned around to see a figure, shrouded in darkness, coming towards us. Panic surged through our bodies as we realized we were not alone in this factory. We mustered up courage, and we sprinted through the tunnels, desperately trying to find a way out. But no matter how fast we ran, the figure just felt like it kept getting closer and closer to us, but ever so slowly. It seemed like it was just gliding, and it was becoming more and more menacing as it got closer to us in each passing moment. I know that my heart was pounding out of my chest, and I could see it all over Lily that she was freaked out too as we were running away from whatever this was. We were finally approaching what looked like an exit, and we burst out of the factory and into the cool night air, gasping for breath. We looked back, but the figure was nowhere to be seen. It had vanished, leaving us shaken and terrified. We vowed never to venture into the unknown depths of Craigslist again. The ad had turned out to be a trap, leading us into a nightmare we would never forget. From that day on, we realized that sometimes it's best to leave the mysteries of the internet untouched. Sometimes it's best to not give in to our temptation and desire for attention and neediness, especially when things seem too good or too terrifying at that matter to be true. One late afternoon, while browsing Craigslist for deals and opportunities, I stumbled upon a peculiar ad. The title caught my eye, "Seeking an assistant for mysterious tasks." Curiosity got the best of me, and I clicked on it, unaware of the horrible path I was about to head down. The ad described a job opportunity that promised adventure and a lot of secrecy. It stated, "Looking for a daring individual to assist with very unusual tasks, who must be willing to take risks and follow instructions without question. Payment will be substantial. Contact via email for more details." I didn't think I was serious about it, but how could I not be intrigued by that? But I obviously still remained cautious and decided to inquire further. I sent an email expressing my interest, and within hours I received a very cryptic response. The email stated, "Congratulations, you have been chosen. Meet me at this address tonight at 11 p.m. It stated a couple of other bits of information, but nothing that gave away information as to what the job was. I assumed it would be an overnight job because I'd be showing up late. Curiosity turned into unease, but I couldn't resist the allure of the unknown. I rationalized that it could be maybe an exciting opportunity for my bleak life, so I mustered up the courage, and when the clock finally hit 11, I found myself standing outside of a pretty nice house. I started to walk up the driveway, and my heart started to pound in my chest. I couldn't explain why. I was just pretty nervous. It was late at night, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. When I walked up to the door, it was open slightly, so I entered it. The air inside was pretty stale, all while the house being pretty normal. But the only sound I heard as I took each step was the echo of my footsteps. Quickly after, a guy shouted for me to come into another room on the other side of the house. I followed the faint glow of a flashlight that I could see illuminating from what looked like a kitchen area. The dim light revealed a figure with a bulky hoodie and a baseball cap on, and he was standing beside a table cluttered with all sorts of objects. The strange figure introduced himself as Mr. Riley, and he was the one who put the ad out. He explained that their intentions were to stay mysterious and their tasks required utmost secrecy, almost like a cult. I felt a chill creep down my spine as he spoke, but I was determined, sort of, to see it through. At this point, I was sure this was a joke, but I came prepared just in case with a pocket knife. But honestly, at this point in my life, I really wanted to live a little. So Mr. Riley proceeded to hand me a sealed envelope and told me not to open it until instructed. His instructions were explicit, directing me to retrieve items from eerie locations and exchange packages with strangers in secluded areas and deliver cryptic messages to unknown recipients. Well, you may be surprised by this, but I did what he asked at first. I left that night unharmed and wondered if this was a real deal or if it was indeed some sort of cult or sick joke. I was ready to see and continue the instructions to see how far this could go, against my better judgment. As the days passed, the tasks grew more unsettling. Each location felt darker, the strangers more suspicious, and the messages more cryptic. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was always being watched, and that every move I made was being observed by unseen eyes. One night, as I embarked on another mission, I noticed a man in a black car trailing behind me. I panicked a little bit, and this was when I think I really fully realized that what I was doing was far more dangerous than I had further anticipated. I really crossed a line that I should not have crossed by joining this sick cult. Whether all these people inside it were delusional or whatever I was doing was criminal, in fact, maybe malevolent in nature, it didn't matter because these people believed in whatever the vision was, and there was no talking them out of it. I decided to abandon them right then and there, fleeing through narrow one-way streets and darkened alleys. I was so afraid as I weaved through the shadows trying to lose this black vehicle that was staying on me. At one point, I stopped looking back because I was scared that I would see the vehicle still following me. Eventually, I found safety and contacted authorities explaining the chilling series of the events that had unfolded. They investigated the house and Mr. Riley's identity, only to discover that it was all a ruse, some twisted game played by a cunning individual, which should surprise nobody. I don't know what the endgame was here, or if this person just got a thrill from controlling me, because that's what happened. I was manipulated, but either way, I'm happy I never found the answer out. Ever since that day, I've never been able to trust Craigslist. The experience served as a reminder that not everything on the internet is as it seems. It taught me to tread carefully in the realm of classified ads, always mindful of the potential danger lurking behind seemingly innocent words.